Hey guys, welcome back to Anchored. I'm your host Jason with a very special guest today, Dave Durante, an Olympic gymnast, now runs Power Monkey Fitness camp. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, obviously. Don't get too crazy in depth with everyone, but tell the audience who you are.
Sure. My name is Dave Durante. I'm originally from New Jersey. I live in New York City. I was a gymnast for many years, part of Stanford University's team, and I helped coach Stanford to a national championship as part of the coaching staff there in 2009. Was fortunate enough to compete for Team USA for 6 years, a few world championship teams, part of the Olympic team that went to 2008 Olympics in Beijing, and I've since retired and moved into the fitness world.
Awesome. So you're here this weekend today doing the Power Monkey Camp with the seminar here. How'd that go today? Good? People learned a ton?
Awesome. So this was a really advanced group, really across the board. Advanced in the sense that they were able to pick up cues very, very quickly. Normally you have to explain things a lot of times before people really start to get a hold of the concepts that I'm getting across, but this particular group really picked up things very quickly, which tells me that, one, they're listening really well, and they have a good concept of understanding how their body needs to work and how the changes need to be made, which is not always the case, which is a really, really good indicator that they'll be able to apply the things that we talked about and move them into their regular training after I leave.
Cool. So one thing I kind of want to chat with you about is for new people. It's kind of funny because like when a new prospect comes in the gym, they see the pull-up bars. It's like almost like they laugh about it, like, oh, there's no way I can do a pull-up. Like, what do you say to those people who, because we know gymnastics to be very important, just being able to use your own body for different things. Like, what do you say to those people who just like automatically have this notion that it's some impossible land for them? Right.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people. I'd say that's probably a large percentage of the population look at gymnastics and say it's just out of my wheelhouse. And I think first is setting realistic goals and just being able to expand progressions in a skill base that allows them to see those smaller goals along the way. And that's one of the things that we really try to strive towards doing with our Power Monkey clinics is giving people the tools, the coaches, the athletes, the tools to be able to say, okay, you might have not grown up with gymnastics, but we're going to give you the ability to start to feel what it's like to build towards that next stepping stone. Everything in the gymnastics world is about small baby steps. There are never any of these gigantic leaps and bounds that are made. It's all incremental steps that happen over long periods of time. So it takes a long time.
And the tough part is like, because with weightlifting, you can see, okay, I'm putting 5 more pounds on the bar, but it's not exactly the same as with like a pull-up or a dip or something like that.
Absolutely. That is a part that's a little bit harder with the gymnastics side, is for people to have that physical ability to see their progress.
But at the same time, once you get it, it's so much more rewarding.
There is a huge reward factor there, absolutely. So that's why we always say, if this is something that really is something you're striving towards, put in the time. Like I guarantee you, over 6 months, over a year, you're going to see significant benefits, not only into your gymnastics movements, but it's going to translate and transfer over into everything else that you're doing, whether that's your Olympic weightlifting, your endurance training, or the action, how you row. Being able to move your own body weight translates really well into all different movements.
Right. Cool. And then transition to a more advanced athlete. What do you kind of recommend for them? Like in regionals, they said I think like 5 just this weekend. Torn pecs. Obviously, there's always been the shoulder issues. So for like regional or like competitive, regional, hopeful tips or advice for those guys?
I think the main takeaway with that level athlete is to not skip the basics, and it's kind of almost like going back towards what we talk about with the beginner athletes as well, is to take advantage of the accessory pieces and the mobility components and the core strength and all of these pieces that allow you to delve into those higher level movements for longevity, for intensity, for longer periods of time as a competitor. And what we normally see is a competitor wants to compete at a high level and they want to work on really high level skills, but a lot of time their foundation is not fully there to be able to apply those high level skills for duration, for longevity. So my goal is always to make sure that the person's foundation is set. So no matter if they're a games athlete, if they're a beginner, it's always about making sure that they're applying the basics and applying this foundation and then taking that foundation and putting it into those higher level movements. So for me, it's always about, even for a high level athlete, taking them a step back and making sure they're understanding the accessory pieces.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. We totally appreciate you coming out and taking the time to talk to us as well.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure coming out here. Hopefully we'll be back out soon.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.